So do you know, just off the top of your head, or could you calculate how many elections you voted in your lifetime?
Ooh. First one I remember voting for was Richard Nixon.
Nixon?
That would have been 62, was that right? 60?
60.
60.
Okay.
That was Nixon Kennedy. And I think that would have been the first one I voted in.
Okay.
That was the first election I voted in, and I voted in every one since. And so starting in 1960, every 4 years through 2012, and then I voted by absentee ballot in this one, so 1960 to 2016.
So in your minds, in your opinion, where does this election rank as far as like importance? I know like all elections are important and they all like have their different things going on, but if you had to like look at this election and look at the candidates and what's going on in our country, where would you rank this as far as importance, in voting wise, I guess?
I'm always hesitant to say something is the most important because whenever we're involved in something, it seems like the biggest thing. But I do think this ranks as one of the most critically important elections in my lifetime. For a variety of reasons. Number one, the world is more dangerous than I can remember at any time since the Cold War. And even then, I don't think it was as dangerous because we had this balance of power between two rational entities, the Soviet Union and the United States. And I don't think anybody really worried about a crazy person who was anxious to be a kamikaze, pulling the trigger. So it was a tense time. But now we've got a world situation where you worry about crazies who, with enormous physical power and even the potential to get nuclear. So I think at the world level, this is a very critical election. So to me, it's a very important election based on my beliefs and my beliefs in and my concerns about the future of my children and my grandchildren, the kind of world they will grow up in, both at the international level and at the domestic level. To me, it's a critically important election.
I really think it is too. Now, I remember the election after all the Watergate mess as being, everybody had the sense that that was such a horrible experience. We had to have something totally different. I remember that as being important. But I think one of the reasons this stands out so much in my mind is that the actual campaigns themselves have been so different from what we customarily had. It's not that there's been name calling and there's been plots against each other, the different parties, but it seems like this year it's so personal and so lacking in respect in any sense, and dignity, and just so much that we kind of expect from our leaders. Kind of seems like we're down in the gutter. But it's very important that we get it right, whatever that is. I'm not sure there is a right in this election.
Do you think retirees in general are committed voters? Would you say, if you had to generalize?
I think very much so. Here we see they've got people, they're encouraging people to come out and vote already. They're telling them, we can vote early here in Florida, and so they're giving all the times that I believe there's a location here. There is certainly one at the firehouse, just right out here locally. And they're already, they're talking to people within Cypress Village to get everybody out. And I think generally that's it. I think most retirees are very interested in seeing this country going the right way for their children
and grandchildren. And I think too, after you have spent a lifetime of work and responsibilities and having to get up at a certain time and do certain things and be responsible for families. I think that sense of responsibility carries over into your retirement, and you feel that you have an obligation to know the issues and to make your voice heard.
So just, it doesn't have to be, like, we've probably already mentioned it a couple times, but what is your main motivation for voting? What motivates you to vote and to continue through these many, many years to always cast your ballot and to vote and make sure that your voice is heard?
Well, I guess I could not say necessarily a political point of view, because I have voted both ways throughout my lifetime. But I'm a very strong believer in women's rights, and that motivates me to vote.
I think the thing that motivates me to vote, and this is a general statement and it's become stronger over the years, is when I look around at the countries where they don't have the privilege. I think one of the most dramatic things for me was seeing those people in Iraq shortly after Saddam fell, and they tried to institute democracy. And they were being threatened. And in Afghanistan, where the Taliban was threatening anybody that went to the polls will kill you or will kill your family. And they went anyway. Mm. And I thought, gee, all it takes for me to go is just to have enough gumption to get in the car and drive to the polling place, or now even just fill out a mail-in ballot. How could I not do that when there are people around this world who have died for the privilege and are still risking their lives, and in some instances, as in Syria, have no ability to vote, have no ability to have their voice heard. So to me, I vote at individual elections based on issues and principle and people that I believe in or don't believe in, or in this case, vote against. But on the more cosmic level, I vote because it is such a precious right, and people have given so much for it.
I think maybe too, it has a lot to do with our generation, because growing up, everybody voted.
Yeah.
There was no such thing as people not voting. I don't ever remember that. Everybody
not among
voted.
the people we knew anyway.
Yeah. Everybody, it was just something you did. Whereas I know that things have changed a lot now, but I think perhaps it's partly how we were raised.
Your focus then becomes on not so much what can this politician do for me, but how can I protect the heritage that is being left for my children and grandchildren.
What about this country makes you proud to be an American?
I probably have to give you 2 or 3 things. The Canadians just recently were broadcasting some things about America that was great. And the one thing we are is a giving nation. When there are disasters in the world, our people will come and help. If it's in another country, if it's here in our own country, where it is, we are a very generous and giving people. I'm very proud of that. I'm very proud of, this sounds crazy to say, our elections, because we are the light upon a hill for all other countries, the way we manage our elections, our transfer of power. I mean, we don't have all the problems that some people do. Those 2 things, and a lot of other things, but I'm very proud of those 2 things.
And I agree with Greenie on that. I think the democratic process, the thing that makes me proudest to be an American is our freedom. And that's across the board. Our freedom to go to church and worship in the morning, our freedom to assemble like this and talk freely about politics and about candidates and not worry about somebody bugging the room and pulling us off for questioning because we criticized a leader. And as disgusted as I get with the campaign, I have to back off and say, but wait a minute. That's part of what makes us a great country. We can do that. They can't do that in Syria. They can't do that in Afghanistan freely, and even China, for all the progress they've made in many areas of human rights, is still a big issue there. And so the freedom to get in our RV and go someplace. There are places in this world, aside from the economic advantage that we have, where people can't travel without special permission. And our freedom of assembly, our freedom of travel, our freedom of work, our freedom of religion, our freedom of speech, these are really valuable things that set us apart.
Well, thank you both.